For 27 years, Melinda Gates lived beside one of the richest and most powerful men on earth. She appeared composed in photographs, helped run one of the largest foundations in history, and raised 3 children under constant public attention. Then in 2021 she walked away. The divorce stunned the world, not only because of the couple's influence, but because the settlement was estimated at around $76 billion. For a long time afterward, Melinda said very little. People speculated about Bill Gates's mistakes, but she stayed mostly silent. Then in 2025, at the age of 61, she finally spoke openly. She described a meeting in 2013 that made her feel physically ill, spoke about lies that kept stacking up over the years, and explained why she ultimately chose to leave. What she shared changed how many people understood her life and her choices. Melinda French was born on August 15, 1964, in Dallas, Texas. She grew up in a household shaped by structure, curiosity, and quiet ambition. She was the second of 4 children. Her father worked as an aerospace engineer during the Apollo era, contributing to missions that sent Americans to the moon. Her mother stayed home, creating a steady rhythm for the family and setting clear expectations. They lived comfortably but without extravagance. Knowing that college for 4 children would be expensive, her father started a small rental property business in the late 1970s. It quickly became a family effort. By the age of 10, Melinda was helping paint walls, clean apartments, and do basic repairs on weekends. As she grew older, the responsibilities increased. By 12, she was handling simple bookkeeping, learning how numbers reflected real-world decisions. She absorbed the idea that effort today could create opportunities tomorrow. Independence came naturally to her, not as a slogan but as a lived experience. Around this same time, her father brought home an Apple II computer. Released in 1977, it was still a novelty in most households. Melinda began using it to manage rental records, and soon the blinking cursor pulled her in. She taught herself basic programming, typing commands repeatedly until the computer responded. At a time when very few girls were encouraged to touch code, she found comfort in its logic. The machine did not care who she was. It only cared whether the instructions made sense. That curiosity deepened when she entered Ursuline Academy in 1978. The school challenged its students, and Melinda thrived under the pressure. She excelled in math and science, and her teachers noticed her focus. Ursuline was among the first schools in Texas to bring computers into classrooms, and that exposure reinforced her interest in technology. When she graduated in 1982 as valedictorian, she carried not just strong grades but confidence in her direction. She soon took a paid job tutoring younger students in math and programming, earning $5 an hour. Teaching others sharpened her own thinking and showed her how much she enjoyed helping people understand complex ideas. In 1982, she arrived at Duke University, where she often found herself one of the only women in computer science classes. The environment felt more aggressive than what she had known. In one early course, the professor used a programming language she had never seen, and for a moment she doubted herself. But she pushed through, studied harder, and adapted quickly. By 1986, she earned a bachelor's degree in computer science and economics, and by 1987, she completed her MBA at just 23. Summers spent interning at IBM gave her hands-on experience with large software teams and complex systems. She learned how technology came together piece by piece, and how collaboration mattered just as much as code. After her second IBM internship, she was offered a full-time job. Seemed like the safe choice. Yet during her final interview, a manager surprised her by suggesting she look at Microsoft instead, a much smaller company with big ambitions. The idea was intimidating, but she wanted growth rather than comfort. In 1987, she joined Microsoft as a product manager. Her work focused on multimedia, a new frontier at the time. She led projects like Cinemania, a CD-ROM movie guide that sold more than 200,000 copies in its first year, and later Encarta, which became one of the most influential digital encyclopedias of the 1990s, selling over 1 million copies. Not every project succeeded. Microsoft Bob, designed to make computers friendlier, failed due to hardware limitations. But failure did not weaken her. By the early 1990s, she had become general manager of information products, leading large teams and shaping software used in homes around the world. In 1996, She helped guide Expedia from an internal experiment into a fast-growing travel platform that transformed how people booked trips online. During these years, her personal life was also evolving. She began dating Bill Gates in 1987, keeping the relationship private because of workplace rules. They married in January 1994 in a small ceremony in Hawaii. She entered the marriage as an equal, negotiating a strong prenuptial agreement. Even after marrying the CEO, she continued working at Microsoft, earning promotions based on performance rather than her last name. In 1996, while pregnant with her first child, she chose to leave the company to focus on family, closing a demanding but formative chapter of her life. As Microsoft stock soared, she became extremely wealthy, but her focus shifted toward philanthropy. Together, she and Bill built what became the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, merging earlier efforts into one organization by 1999. The foundation's endowment quickly grew into the tens of billions, allowing it to reshape global health and education initiatives. Early work included expanding internet access in libraries, funding scholarships, and supporting education reform. A trip to Africa in the late 1990s changed her priorities even more deeply. Seeing preventable diseases up close convinced her that global health, especially for women and children, had to be central. Over the next 15 years, the foundation invested billions in vaccination programs, maternal health, and family planning. Polio cases dropped dramatically in countries like India and Pakistan. Contraception programs helped prevent millions of unintended pregnancies and maternal deaths. Melinda became a visible advocate for women's health and equality, earning honors such as the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016. Yet behind the public success, her marriage was unraveling. Concerns about workplace culture, allegations involving people close to Bill, and his continued association with Jeffrey Epstein deeply troubled her. A visit to Epstein's home in 2013 made her feel sick, and learning that Bill continued meeting him afterward became a breaking point. Therapy helped her confront panic attacks, nightmares, and the realization that trust had eroded. By late 2019, she began divorce discussions in private. When the split became public in 2021, it shocked the world. The settlement was one of the largest in history. Afterward, she pledged billions toward women's health and stepped away from the Gates Foundation entirely in 2024 to focus on her own mission through pivotal ventures. In 2025, she released her memoir, speaking openly about betrayal, healing, and reclaiming her identity. Her story became less about standing beside a powerful man and more about a woman choosing honesty, independence, and purpose on her own terms.